So let's bring up the list. I found a nice little post here, and let's go through it, man. There it is. If the playoffs stop today, this is the ranking by the selection committee. Only two yesterday, actually. The 12th. Look at Colorado sneaking up there at 17. Mm, 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 mm.
You believe?
I believe. I believe. But as of right now, Georgia would make the cut. Believe it or not, Georgia fall. I think you wanted to even talk, but it's Georgia fall in the 12, which is pretty insane right now. BYU all the way up to 6. Indiana is at 5. Whew. Um, looking at this list here, man, do you think anyway Georgia falls out and doesn't make the college football?
I mean, they setting it up to be that way. I mean, because they're going to play each other, right? So Georgia has to play Tennessee. Um, but we got to look at this situation here. Georgia has one of the toughest schedules, I think, top 5 toughest schedules in the NCAA. And how do they drop because they have 2 losses that and those 2 teams are in the top 10? Like, how is Penn State still right here? Penn State has played and beat nobody. They
Hmm.
beat USC, was a 5-1 team. They beat, I don't know, somebody else as a 5-1 team, and they get the ass beat by Ohio State, and you somehow in the top 4. So you're looking at a bye here, but you dropped Georgia down and lost to Alabama, who's number 10, and lost to Ole Miss, who's 11. But then again, they beat Texas, right? They beat Texas at Texas, and Texas is sitting at 3. Like,
Right.
make it make sense to me. That's
Yeah.
surprising to me. I mean, I would definitely been moving Penn State down. Georgia probably maybe got to like 8, 9. I mean, fucking Miami lost last week to who did Miami just lose to?
Yeah, I was off on that game. They were one game off.
They just lost to a terrible team. Miami just lost to, and they've been playing like shit. Georgia Tech, and they've been playing like shit every week. They just been getting
Yeah.
escaping with wins. So it's I don't know. I mean, I guess they're trying to shake things up. I really don't see a pathway for Colorado to get there unless Colorado wins the Big 12.
Yeah, they got to win the Big 12.
But even with that, like look, like who besides that's BYU, right? So there's only one Big 12 team that's in there,
Yep,
and if they beat BYU, then I guess they'll get into that position.
for sure. Yeah,
Uh,
they like I mean, it's a Power 5 conference. They got to make it if they win.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think all 4 of those teams stay. I think Georgia stays up there. Ole Miss most likely. I think Tennessee will find his way falling out. Yeah.
What's Tennessee? What's the rest of Tennessee schedule?
So Tennessee has to play. I know Tennessee has to play Georgia. All right. So
No,
Tennessee
they
has
play Georgia this
Georgia
week.
this week, and they got UTEP and Vanderbilt at Vanderbilt. So
They might beat Georgia. I mean, is it in Georgia?
this at Georgia, they're not beating Georgia.
Man, you seen the way Beck has been playing, bro.
Yeah, Beck isn't playing good football.
He ain't playing. He ain't playing good. And without Beck, you know what I mean? They're not. You know what I mean? They struggled against Florida a little bit, right? Florida was winning that game. And then they kind of turned it around in the second half. And then we saw what they did against Ole Miss. Now not saying Ole Miss is a slouch, but it didn't feel like Georgia was in that game at all.
Yeah, I thought that was a big game there for Ole Miss. Um,
I mean, it was at Ole Miss, so
yeah, it was a big game for them. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, but mind you,
But we
Georgia.
talking about Georgia though, bro.
Yeah, but look at Georgia's schedule. They opened up with Clemson. Like that was the first game of the season. They blew out Clemson. Clemson's still ranked in top 25. They had to go to Kentucky, which we know Kentucky's a tough place to play. They
Yeah,
lose to Alabama on national television that they had to come back for and took the lead for a
yeah. They
second.
got smoked by Bama for a little
Obviously,
bit there.
yeah, obviously you got Auburn. Then you have to go to Texas. You get a Texas win. Then you have Florida. Then you have Ole Miss. Like, look at their conference. Look at the teams I'm saying that they're playing. These are all top 25 for the most part teams. So, but anyway, listen.
How did they play UMass as the second game against at the end? Like that's supposed to be the first game.
Uh,
Like,
well, that's their. Hopefully, that was going to be their break before they start getting into get playoff play.
yeah, like they got Tennessee, UMass, and then Georgia Tech. Like I'm
And
just saying, like I mean, we'll get into the if you guys like college football betting and NFL, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we will be breaking down this game next week. Oh, you know what? Nico's got a concussion. That's why that line is like that. Because I'm just like, why is the line 10?
Who are you talking about?
Nico from Tennessee. He's got a.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
He's questionable for Saturday as a concussion.
Got you. Yeah, SEC teams, they usually have like a lower level game later on in the season. I think even what isn't somebody playing Mercer this week?
Yeah, I don't know.
Alabama. I think Alabama played Mercer this week. So you usually kind of have those dud games later in the season.
Mm.
Kind of those get right games after a rigorous SEC schedule. So, but it's interesting, man.
What? So real quick, I know we've been talking about this one for a little bit, and we can kind of talk about it more tomorrow. Give me a surprise. Who makes the playoffs, and give me somebody who's going to drop. So one makes it out of the top 25 that maybe people don't see coming, and then one who gets kind of knocked out. It was like, oh shit.
All right. Let me take a look here. I'm thinking we got to watch out for SMU. They got Boston College, Virginia, California. They can win out 8-1 season. I think they can sneak in there. Very electric offense. They're going to give any team some issues offensively. I think Penn State drops a little bit. Surprises. Let me go down. I mean, I guess we're rooting for Colorado, right? Is that going to be the upset? I mean, that's the only really big upset that I can see that can sneak in here and make moves. That would be great television, right? Get Colorado into the playoffs. That'll be good TV
for sure. I think that's a good one. But like you kind of talked about already, they only have one path to the playoffs, and that's the one the Big 12. You know what I mean? BYU probably won't lose again. Right now, I think Colorado's favored by 10 points against Utah. Which is kind of surprising, I guess, a little bit. Not too much, I guess, maybe, because Utah is really not that good, but I think it's just a tad surprising, double digits. But playing in Utah is tough.
This is going to be interesting. All right, so let's look at it here. Ohio State. They got Northwestern, then they got Indiana. So that's going to be interesting here. Indiana at number 5-2. What if Indiana beats Ohio State at Ohio State? Like that's interesting, right? And then they got to play Michigan. Like, so in this point, are you worried about the Ohio State Michigan game, or are you worried about Indiana that's coming to town? Like, Ohio State, usually Indiana's that walkover to get prepared for Michigan, but now they gotta be prepared to play Indiana.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting situation here. Obviously, Tennessee plays Georgia this week. So that'll be a little shakeup. Penn State finishes out with Purdue, Minnesota, and Maryland. So most likely they'll sweep the end of that, and they won't move too far. But they might drop back just because of status of wins. Miami right now,
that was the one I was looking at. I think.
I mean, who they lose to? Syracuse, maybe they got to go to Syracuse.
Yeah, I was thinking Clemson. I was
they don't play Clemson. Oh
no, like Clemson could. That would be my.
Damn, you think Clemson can jump up there
if they win the ACC? Right, if they win the ACC and they beat Miami in the ACC.
Okay, so if they beat Miami. So if Miami comes out with 2 losses, Miami drops out. Clemson works.
Because what happens? Is there a pathway for any of these teams to still make the playoffs if they lose their conference championships?
I don't know. I'll be prepared next week to talk about it to see how it plays out, how much the weight of the championship game plays. Because, like I said, teams like Notre Dame, they don't have a championship game. So, you know what I mean? Like, how does that impact? Is that good? I mean, it happened to them before. Like, because Notre Dame doesn't have an extra game, they did get rewarded versus a team that has to play the extra game and they lose, and then you're going to drop them out.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Is how do you do that?
Yeah. It'll be interesting for sure. And was
But what
that
I
both?
will say is this: looking at these teams that's in the top 12 or teams that are potentially going to be in the top 12, it's going to be some great football playoffs because I would love to see any of these teams match up against each other. Um,
Yeah.
as I'm looking at it.